have been treated and released. That's Rachel Pacella, Rachel. Last name is Pacella. And Janet Cooley, Janet Cooley, and both are employees with the Capital Gazette as well. With that, I'll turn it over to Chief Altamari.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to see you here today. Bear with me as I take my glasses off. They get dark, and I want you guys to be able to see me, but I probably can't see you too well, so I'll ask you to bear with me. I want to start today by offering the sincere condolences of the Anne Arundel County Police Department to the Capital Gazette staff. Much like police, local newspapers become a family, and their family suffered unutterable tragedy yesterday. Most of the folks that work at the Capital Gazette work with us daily, weekly, and we know them. It's not only a loss for them, I want them to know that. It's a loss for the Anne Arundel County Police Department, and truly, it's an unutterable loss for the city of Annapolis and Anne Arundel County. So our hearts go out to them. We'll be thinking of them as we move forward, and we wish them the best as they try to deal with their grief. I also have to thank a bunch of people, so I'll ask you to bear with me on this. There were 300 law enforcement officers on that scene yesterday. 300-ish law enforcement officers from the Annapolis Police Department, the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office, the Maryland State Police, Howard County Police Department, the Maryland Transportation Authority Police, Maryland Department of Natural Resources Police, Annapolis Fire and Bomb Squad, Prince George's County Police Department, Montgomery County, Maryland started to send us help. BWI, Baltimore Washington International Airport's Fire and Rescue Services came. The NSA Police came. The FBI was, as always, a very present help in times of trouble. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms gave us a large amount of help. NSA came to help. The United States Secret Service came to help. And the postal inspectors came to help. Whether they were helping us direct traffic, whether they were bringing water to cops who were dehydrated, or whether they helped us go in that building and save people's lives. Every cop from all those agencies was a part of how we saved people's lives yesterday. I thank them from the bottom of my heart for the Anne Arundel County Police Department. I'd also like to thank our community. One of the beautiful things about wearing a badge and a patch in Anne Arundel County is we know how our community feels about us. We've heard you the last 24 hours. As always, we thank you for that support and love, and we thank you for the support and love that's going out to the Capital Gazette. The business community is absolutely at front and center of that larger community. We have had so many showings of love from our business community in the area in the last 24 hours. I am, as always, humbled and touched by their support. I can confirm for you at this time that we identified the suspect with help through other investigative techniques by using facial recognition technology from the Maryland system. I'd like to thank Governor Hogan for allowing us that help. I'd like to thank the Maryland Combined Analysis Center, its commanders, and I'd like to thank the state police for being so present in helping us identify the suspect. We were able to use that and a couple other techniques to make sure we knew who the bad guy was. I will not say his name today. I refuse to do it. I wish you wouldn't do it, but I know better. He doesn't deserve us to talk about him one more second. Thank you to the Maryland Combined Analysis Center. There are no other suspects we're looking for right now. We have no reason to believe anybody else but the suspect was involved in this atrocity. We did recover the suspect's car after a pretty lengthy search nearby. We have conducted a search warrant on that. I can't give you much more on that right now because we're still putting puzzle pieces together. We did also do overnight a search warrant in the 400 block of Armstrong Court. Maryland State Police helped us serve that warrant last night. I'd like to thank them again. We did find evidence at the residence. I can't go into a whole bunch of details about it, but I will tell you that it's evidence showing the origination of planning, things like that in his apartment, and it shows what we knew we would find, which is that we have one bad guy and that for his own reasons he chose to do what he did yesterday. We've confirmed, I think already, that it was a shotgun used in the incident. I will also confirm it was a pump action shotgun. It was legally purchased a year or so ago. And I'm going to close and allow questions with this. This was a targeted attack. We can't fathom why that person chose to do this. We don't think we have any more clear and present dangers to the citizens of Anne Arundel County. That person has had a history with the Anne Arundel County Police Department. In May of 2013, we did have a situation where online threatening comments were made. We had a detective assigned to investigate it. The detective spoke with legal counsel for the Capital Gazette, several members of the Capital Gazette staff. Mr. Marquardt, who's had some comments in the news media, was scheduled to be on that conference call. He did not call in. On that conference call, it was discussed that the Capital Gazette did not wish to pursue criminal charges. There was a fear that doing so would exacerbate an already flammable situation. Lieutenant Frazier will, after appropriate redaction, be sending you the police report on that incident. We'll be able to do that in the next couple hours. Bear with us as we do that. We're trying to do it right. We're only going to get one shot at doing this right. And with that, I'll take a couple questions.
Regardless of how the Gazette felt about not pressing charges,
and what might have changed between May of 2013 and now to spark this?
So I think that they are trying to put all those puzzle pieces together. All of you are good investigative reporters. You've all looked at the social media platforms. There's clearly a history there. I will tell you that we were not aware of that history until last night. Should we have been? In a perfect world, sure, we should have been. We were not. We get at least a threat call a day, so it's tough to keep up with them. I'll say this again. We lost a great tool with Geophedia a couple years ago. It was the national conscience that decided that we weren't going to be able to use it. It made our job a lot easier as it relates to following things, phrases.
Chief, regardless of how the newspaper felt and the attorney felt about pressing charges, does this department feel that this man should have been charged and held accountable for the threats that were being made, and do you feel that those threats were reasonable threats?
Given the situation at the time, I think the investigator made the call. The investigator involved is retired. I have not had a chance to talk to him yet. We make calls every day. I think he made a call based on what he was presented. We make that call every day. Every day we talk to somebody who decides they don't want to press charges. In Maryland, if it's a felony, we push. If it's a misdemeanor, a lot of misdemeanors go the way of not charging. So I have to say, ma'am, I don't feel that the department was negligent in any way.
Chief, you said you were real evidence of planning. Can you tell us about, he obviously didn't give his name. Can you tell us more about his demeanor when you started the interrogation or what happened?
I'll beg your indulgence to say this. We are not or have not been getting cooperation from the suspect. The suspect was scheduled to go to bail review an hour or so ago. I'm not terribly sure what happened there. So for now, that window has closed for us, and we're going to have to try to do things a different way.
Chief, you said you mentioned there was evidence of planning by the suspect?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chief, you mentioned evidence of planning. How specific was that? Can you tell what he was going to do and who he was after?
We still have to do a forensic reconstruction on digital stuff. We have not had a chance to do that. We did not find a written manifesto or anything. That's the spirit of your question, I think. We did not find that.
We're hearing that the suspect was hiding under a desk at the time when news came into the newsroom. Was he pretending to be a reporter or a staffer?
So this is how I'll answer that question. When the officers went in, they were going in there to neutralize a threat. I think that became very clear very quickly. And I think fight or flight kicks in certain ways, and I don't know why, but flight won for the suspect yesterday.
He ran away?
No, sir, he didn't run away, but he hit. Yes, ma'am.
What's the total time frame here from the moment you guys got the call to the moment you had the suspect? How long did this whole incident take place?
Within 2 minutes, they were pushing in on the suspect and starting to get him cornered and not let him hurt anybody else. So to answer the spirit of that question, do I think that the Annapolis City cops, the county cops, and the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Department saved people's lives yesterday? Without question. Without question.
Yes.
Okay, so what we found was more stuff to distract people and confuse people than it was to introduce casualties, if that makes sense as far as devices. I'm going to beg your indulgence and not answer that. I'll say this. The fellow was there to kill as many people as he could kill.
Were there any shots fired by law enforcement?
No, sir.
Were there any threats made yesterday?
I cannot answer that question. I have seen your colleagues post things. I have not gotten that feedback from my investigators yet. I got to be honest with you. They're hitting the point of diminishing returns on their ability to stay awake and keep going. So we will be glad to get more on that to you guys in the near future, but I can't answer it right now.
How many people around the suspect has the police?
Okay, sure. So Maryland has a system that's come under some fire from civil libertarians called the, bear with me, Maryland Image Repository System. MCAC, the Maryland Combined Analysis Center, ran the picture that we sent them through that system, and that was able to identify the subject. We would have been much longer in identifying him and being able to push forward in the investigation. Without that system, it was a huge win for us last night and thus for the citizens of Anne Arundel County.
Chief, can you explain why that was necessary if his fingerprints weren't altered?
Get right with you, man.
Yeah, to follow up on that last question. Repository, is that license, driver's license?
I believe, bear with me on this, because I'm not a pro, but I believe it's driver's license and mugshots.
So can you explain then, Chief, why that facial recognition was necessary if his fingerprints were intact, if all of this was intact, why that was the way that you had to go?
We had lag getting answers on fingerprints is all I can tell you. I think that's probably why the unnamed senior law enforcement source who wishes to remain anonymous said that, because they read lag as some sort of attempt on his part. So we had lag, and it happens. I don't know why it happens. Last night, I don't know why it took us a little longer through the computer system. Computer systems do that. But we didn't have the luxury of waiting, so we immediately turned to the help that we used.
Meaning that when you were taking his fingerprints, he was moving them around, or what was the problem with
I can't answer that, ma'am. I really can't. I'm not dissembling. I have no idea.
How back the shotgun? Was that 12 gauge or 20 gauge? Do you know?
It was 12 gauge.
Can you explain to us what threats were, what the, you were on Twitter, I take it? What is the continuum of threats that the Anne Arundel County Police are aware of from the suspect?
So it's my understanding that we had the initial incidents with social media platforms, and if it's Twitter, I'll take your word for it. If it's Instagram, I would accept that too. We had the instances in 13, and then it went dark, and then my understanding is that very shortly before the incident, there were some further posts. I could be wrong on that, and to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't dug that much into that.
Chief, has he said anything at all? If he had been charged with stalking and he had made these threats, why was he able to
So in Maryland, when you become prohibited, there are certain crimes. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if stalking's one of them. Felonies, and then there are certain misdemeanors. I'm not terribly sure. I believe he has a harassment conviction, yes?
I can't confirm.
So I know he was charged with harassment once. That's the best answer I can give you, sir.
That wouldn't necessarily prohibit him from buying a weapon unless that was a felony, is that what you're saying?
So felonies are automatic. There are some specific misdemeanors, and I got to be honest with you, I'm not sure if stalking is one of them. I know like domestic assault is. So I'm gonna beg your indulgence on being circumspect on that because I have to protect the integrity of the prosecution here. I think he had planned it, and I'm gonna ask you to let me stay at that.
Has he said anything at all, Chief?
Say again?
Are you able to say exactly where you found his car?
Close enough where if you were planning it, you'd put your car there. Does that make sense?
Chief, has he said anything at all except remorse, anything whatsoever?
We're not getting very much communication, sir. I'm going to take two more.
Based on the car and what you know about the planning, do you think it was the suspect's intent to be captured, to die in a shootout? I mean, do you have any sense of how he thought this was going to end?
I wish I could answer that question with some clarity. I cannot. Using statistics, generally active shooters are wanting to go out in a blaze of glory. I just can't get in his head. I can't do it. I wish I could today, truly. One more. Ma'am. I would characterize them as minor, and everybody's doing okay, if that makes sense.
We heard last night there was somebody in shock trauma. Sorry about that.
That's the last one. The person who went to shock trauma is one of our fatalities, and God bless her. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Just lastly, some more information that we would really like to get out to the public. So we're asking if anybody has information. Again, we successfully evacuated about 170 people out of that building. So most of those people in some way, shape, or form could be a possible witness, whether they saw something, heard something, whether somebody in the area has cell phone footage, anything that you think could be pertinent to investigators. We're asking to call our homicide unit, and that phone number is 410-222-4731. And if anybody has any information and they would like to remain anonymous, we have a 24-hour tip line where they can leave a message. And that number is 410-222-4700. That's the 24-hour tip line. So this is the final major press conference that we're going to have on this incident. Any other updates that we get will be put out as soon as we can make that possible, as we've done throughout the beginning of this incident. That will be done via email through all the news desks, on our social media, and things of that nature. So as information becomes available, we'll continue to put it out. But this is the last official press conference of this stature. So we thank you guys for being patient. We certainly appreciate you guys all the time. So thank you very much.
Thank you for working so hard. Evan, question. 911 calls. Are you all releasing